What's going on? All thanks for tuning in once again. David Benavidez decides to go up and weight. Canelo fight is off. This is very disappointing. I was hoping that Canelo would fight Benavidez. Benavidez and Morale. Basically the only two other fighters that I want to see Canelo fight at 168. And it's a shame that this fight may not happen. I had a lot of interest in this fight. I thought it was, the fight to decide who was the best at 168. I believe Canelo may fight Ngannou, because of this, because of Benavidez going up in weight. So it's not a good move in my opinion for him. I know that he is fighting for the title at light heavy, but he hasn't really fought at light heavy yet. And there's still unfinished business at 168. Just like Crawford, I believe he should be fighting guys like Innes, guys like Virgil Ortiz. He should be fighting and clearing out that division before moving up. It's just one of those things. A lot of fight fans, they want to know for sure, who was the best at that division. And there's still some names, that these fighters could fight before moving up. In my opinion, I don't see Benavidez going back down in weight after this fight. He's already a big guy at 168. Similar to the Haney situation when he went up in weight. He's not coming back down, anytime soon. If anything, he's going to go up again. And, it's a shame. It's a shame that it took this long to try to make that fight. Benavidez was mandatory, I believe, for 3 years. And again, the WBC is making moves that the public don't agree with. I can guarantee that a lot of the public will be disappointed with this fight. Everyone was expecting Benavidez to fight Canelo this year, 2024. There was a lot of high hopes for that one. And we all know how Canelo usually operates. Usually he announces 2 to 3 fights. He normally signs a 2 to 3 fight deal, either with the PBC or whoever's gonna, go with. So it's disappointing for sure. It's disappointing for sure. This news that we may not see that fight, another great fight that we may not see. We also have the fight with Ngannou and Joshua. Where it should have been Wilder and Joshua. Another fight that we may not see there. Wilder, basically, he's back in training camp, and I think he's preparing for, Ngannou. If I'm perfectly honest, I may be wrong, but I think that he's going to want to fight Ngannou after Anthony Joshua does, depending on his performance. Now, in that fight, I think that there will be a knockout. Ngannou and Joshua. There's definitely going to be a knockout. Someone's going to lose by knockout, in my opinion. I just think that, Joshua, with their experience, as well as, having power in both hands, I just don't see how he can lose this one. Ngannou's a guy that he did drop Tyson Fury. And he doesn't really, have much experience in the boxing ring. So, although he did drop Fury, he was unable to, most importantly, keep up with the pace. He had stamina issues. He's the one that's calling for a 10-round fight against Joshua. So, as long as Joshua can get past 4 rounds, and that's, I mean, if Joshua doesn't decide to exchange with Ngannou, Joshua could put him up before then. Joshua is one of the biggest punchers in the sport of boxing at the moment, especially combination punches. He's got a great combination finish with what he brings to the table. He's a great finisher when he does let his hands go. So I mean, if he decides to fight how he fought against Franklin, which is basically throw in singles and then put the guard up, he could outpoint Ngannou easily, doing it that way, being tactical. 10 rounds. We saw Ngannou, starting to fade out a bit at round 5. He did regather his energy at round 8, but then again, round 9 and round 10, it seemed like he never had much in the tank. He knows himself that he can only do 10 rounds, So, I mean, Joshua's got a couple of ways of winning. The only thing that he can't afford to do here is to drop his guard and get caught from a lead power shot. That's what Ngannou does. If you watch his knockouts in the MMA, it's big lead power shots, especially with the left hand. So as long as Joshua can work off the jab, most importantly, put his hands up after throwing. If he is going to exchange, he's got to be aware of that lead left hand, that lead left hook. The lead left uppercut is another signature punch of Ngannou's. As long as he can avoid that, then he'll be okay. Understand that Ngannou can also fight southpaw, so he's got to just be aware of the left hand. That's his knockout hand, from what I've seen. Although he's a right-handed fighter, from what I've seen from Ngannou, which isn't much. I've only seen one fight one time in the boxing ring, but in MMA, watching the highlights, a lot of the knockouts come from that lead hand, and it's going to come down to timing from Joshua. If Joshua can time him and counter him, being blessed, being a blessed puncher in both hands, stopping him in his tracks with the jab, turning into a boxing match. I think that if Ngannou decides to let his hands go, I think that Joshua will time him with a good power shot. The key here for Joshua is to circle to his left, stay away from Ngannou's left side. And I think the punch to knock him out is a straight right. Understand that the straight shots is always going to beat the hooks. If someone's throwing the hook, that straight shot's going to beat him to the punch. This is why Wilder had so much success with that right hand, because he's throwing it straight. So, I mean, as long as he can, not get caught from the left hook within 4 rounds, Joshua can either knock out Ngannou early by letting his hands go with the combination punches, or win on points. Because it's called knockout chaos, I'm expecting Joshua to knock out Ngannou with a straight right hand. He also does like to throw the uppercut as well. One of Joshua's signature punches is the uppercut. So I mean, I see Joshua winning that fight. I just think that Ngannou is not going to be able to land a power lead shot like he did against Fury, and Joshua's going to be a lot more cautious of it. Fury was very vulnerable, throwing himself forward, trying to use his weight against a stronger guy, and I just don't see Joshua being that vulnerable. You know what I mean? So if Francis Ngannou can put up a good performance and have his moments, I think that he will fight Wilder next. seeing how his career's been going. You know, his second fight in the boxing ring, he's challenging the former unified champion. There's speculation that he beat Tyson Fury in the first fight, and we all know in boxing you don't have to win to go up in the rankings. You know, you just have to look good. We saw that with Wilder. You know, he lost to Fury. He was ranked number one for a long period of time because of his performance. So I mean, as long as Francis doesn't get clipped early, I think he will fight Wilder next. He called him out. Wilder's about, you know, the money fights at the moment. He's gone down on the rankings, so I don't see him really getting a title shot anytime soon, unless somebody offers it to him. But that's my take on it. You know, disappointed with the Benavidez situation. You know, I was hoping to see Canelo versus Benavidez. Let's hope that Joshua does beat Francis Ngannou, just because I believe that Joshua should be fighting, you know, Zhang or Parker. You know, the winner of that, he should be fighting them. I think if Francis wins the fight, he might still fight Wilder, you know, because the Fury fight's been delayed. You know, it's all about money these days with these fighters. The big fights aren't happening. So yeah, disappointed with the Benavidez case, and Joshua, I think he beats Ngannou. Wilder, I think he's waiting for the Ngannou fight. So it's just a quick recap on how I see things in boxing at the moment with the heavyweight division and with Benavidez moving up in weight. Look forward to the comments. I'll catch you next time. Peace. Have a good one.